Shut up, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking in today. And yes, I'm excited for today's video because we're doing part 2 of how to succeed in Final Cut. Now, the video on Monday was all about getting your settings right so that you're ready to start without any problems at all. And for instance, I should listen to my own advice because when I recorded this, I forgot that my camera was still set to 24 frames per second, and then I imported it into my computer at 23.98 frames per second, and it would not like that at all. So that's why it's good to make sure that your camera is synced up with what's going on in your editor. But today what we're gonna be doing is talking about key commands and how to speed up your workflow, because I'm sure as a video editor, as someone that wants to get into video editing, you either know or you're gonna find out very soon that 5% of actually making a video is recording and 95% of the video is just editing. You're gonna spend so much time in your editor that it's good to know it inside and out. And by using key commands, you can really speed up your workflow because seconds will start to add up very quickly. And by saving just a few seconds every time, you're not gonna hate your life because you spent 12 hours looking at the same clip over and over again trying to add in the right features.
Well, you may still end up hating your life, but at least it'll be for this reason.
And because we're doing key commands, I can guarantee this video will be under 5 minutes. So when it rains, it pours. Now last time we added a 5-minute counter on there. So this time, let's not add one in because we're doing key commands. Like, how can this be longer than 5 minutes, right? So I guarantee I can make this under 5 minutes. So with that, let's just jump right into it. And with tip number 1, it's probably the most basic key command that you'll be using, but it's one that you'll be using all the time. I use it so often. It's the A key. Now the A key is just the select option. You get your cursor like how you normally would. They let you just click on things, drag things, move things, pointer, whatever you want. Now this is just a great tool for me as a pivot, because maybe I'll make a cut somewhere, or I'll add an effect, or I'll do something. By having my pinky on the A as a pivot, I can just tap on A every time I'm sure of maybe what's going on, because at a point, it becomes muscle memory. So by tapping A, you know that, okay, I'm in the selector tool. I'm not gonna accidentally make a cut or a break or do something that where I didn't want it to and later on not realize I did that. I'll tap on A, I'm back to square one. Tip number 2 is the B key. Now the B key is just the blade selector. So this is where you can go ahead, if you have your clip and you wanna just cut it into multiple parts, click on B. Now, I kind of lied when I just a moment ago when I said that I use the B key. I never use the B key. Very rarely where I actually use the B key. I use a variation of it. I use Command B. Now, Command B also makes a cut, but it makes a cut where the playhead is. So for me, what I'll do is I'll just press spacebar. I'll watch back my video where I want it to be. Okay, cool. Here's where I want it to stop. And I'll do Command B, because right there, right where I want it, there's gonna be that cut. When you're moving the blade through your clip and you click on something, it never really makes the cut exactly where you want it. Always makes it before where you actually want it to be. And that's because in Final Cut, you can't make a cut in between 2 frames. So let's say that you're watching your video back, you stopped your video and it's at frame 12.5. Cool. You're in between 12 and 13. So regardless, if you press B or Command B, it's always gonna round down to the nearest whole number. So it's gonna round down to 12 and make that cut there. At least when you're watching your video back and do Command B, you're usually already on a whole number frame, versus when you're just clicking somewhere, the cursor is freeform and it can select subframes even though it can't actually make a cut there. Cool. So moving on to tip number 3, you have your arrow keys. Now, I'm sure you already know you use your arrow key constantly to move left and right, but they just move you 1 frame. So left will move you 1 frame backwards, right will move you 1 frame forwards in your timeline. But let's say you want to go back to the beginning of a clip, rather than just going like left, 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 and watching like incrementally go back, what I recommend doing, shift left. And that's actually gonna fast forward. It's gonna quickly move that clip. So instead of just being like boom, 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 back, 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 go shift, vroom, go all the way to the front. And moving right along, let's move into tip number 4, which is gonna be an even better option often than using shift in the command key, and that's the up and down arrow. So when you use the up and down, that's actually gonna move your playhead to the beginning or the end of a clip. Let's say that you have a clip and you've cut it into like 3 or 4 different pieces. You press the up key, it's gonna move that playhead to the beginning of the next clip. And if you do the down key, it's gonna move you to the end of the next clip. Pretty obvious, but where this can get kind of tricky and also helpful is, let's say that you have your timeline, which has multiple clips in it, then you have some audio down below, maybe some sound effects you've added, and you've added some other clips or photos that you're gonna like superimpose whatever onto your video. Well, when you do up and down, it's gonna move that playhead to either the start or the end of the next clip. So you always need to look at that. Whenever you do up or down, the playhead is gonna look for the start or the end of a clip. And so if you have a lot of clips, it's gonna move incrementally, but at least they'll always move to a point. So that's a good idea to get exactly where you are, rather than having to do shift and left and right and like zoom in to make sure you're actually on the frame. It'll move you exactly to the beginning or the end of a clip. So tip number 5, you've recorded what you wanted and your camera was probably recording some of your audio, but maybe you also had an external mic that was recording audio as well, and you want to use that audio. Like for me, I have this Rode mic that I use, and this is much, much better than the audio that I would get from my camera. Make sure this is out of the way. Well, that'd be awkward. So what you'd want to do is once you have your clip from your camera and you have the audio added in as a secondary track, make sure they're synced together. And then what you should do is on your video clip, select it, and if you do Control-Shift-S, it's actually going to remove the audio from your video clip and make it as its own separate audio track. Now this is great because then I would say just delete it. Just get rid of that. You could just minimize the volume down to 0 on the video clip, but honestly it's better just to get rid of that audio. You don't need to keep this really crappy audio. It's gonna look more professional that you have a clip without any audio on it rather than having a clip that has this audio brought down to 0. That's pretty good. All right, now tip number 6. Well, now that you have your video clip with no audio and then you have your audio clip below it that you wanna add those two together, it doesn't make sense to like go through your editing process, like making a cut on your video and then making a cut on the audio and doing that. It gets messy. You want to just make one cut and you want to cut the audio and the video at the same time. Who's upstairs? So with that, what I recommend, select your video clip and your audio clip and then do Option G. That's gonna do a compound clip. It's gonna add those clips together into one clip. So now every time you make a cut, it's gonna cut it with the audio and with the video. And plus, it gives you the option to rename your clip. So this is super good. If you have a bunch of clips, you made a bunch of small cuts, so rather than having like 100 or 200 teeny tiny clips, you know that like, okay, this set is good, and this is good, it's cut how I want it to be, and I want this to be a section, and I want this other part to be a section. All right, tip number 7 is it's great to record yourself, to have this interaction here, but you probably want to add other things. You want to add in either like more pizzazz or visuals, or what I like to do, I like adding in text. Text is a great way to further the understanding because now not only am I talking to you, you're seeing what I'm talking about and it's ingraining in your mind as you're reading this, oh, this is gonna stick a little bit more with what he's saying because I actually can see it. For me, I'm a very, very visual learner. And so by being able to see what someone's telling me, I learn so much better. What's awesome about Final Cut is they have so many options for text. You can go up into your titles and then find these really cool texts and you can drag them in, but that's time consuming to do that. So what I personally do is I just do Control-T. That's gonna add in a 10-second text block right there. It is a basic text, but for me, that's all I really want because then I can manipulate text any way I want. Control-T, boom, text is ready to go. Moving into tip number 8, now that you have your text in there, and like I said, it's 10 seconds long, that's probably too long for text. Text is usually like a second or less because it's constantly changing. Like the amount of words that I said in like a 10-second block are probably a bunch in there, and like I said, it's 10 seconds long. That's probably too long for text. Text is usually like a second or less because it's constantly changing. Like the amount of words that I said in like a 10-second block are probably a bunch, probably more than most people, honestly, but I don't know. Great job of keeping up with this if you are, because I talk very fast on camera. But what you can do is, let's say you want to shorten that down. Select that clip, do Control-D. Now what's gonna happen is you look at your timestamp underneath your playback window. It's gonna be purple and it's gonna be asking you to put in how long you want that to be. Now what's awesome with Final Cut is you either can put in the amount of frames that you want or how long the duration, how many seconds or minutes you want that text to be. So for right now, we're recording in 24 frames per second. So if I type in 24, that's gonna make that text clip 1 second, of course. Or I can do, if I wanna make it 1 second long, I can do 100. It's good to remember because if you type in a 1, that's 1 frame. If you type in 10, that's 10 frames. It's not until you type in 100 after that first colon that's gonna change it into time. Sweet, so now we're moving into tip number 9. And tip number 9 is something that is so fundamental and crucial, but it can be very easily overlooked and this written off. And that's the M key. When you type in M, you get this little flag that appears, this purple flag over your clip where you selected, and that's the marker. So with the marker, it creates essentially a little highlight, a mark here. At this timestamp, I can add in this comment here because I know that I want to add in a clip here, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I just want to remember that I want to do something here. How I personally use them, let's say is I have an audio track. There's a beat behind it. It's going like, I want to make a transition every time that beat changes. Like it's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I want to have a transition, and then a cut. I can just listen to it back. Start my clip a little bit sooner. I'm listening to the beat. Okay, because then now the marker is placed exactly where I heard that audio, and as long as I sync it to the M, everything is all good to go. And it's so much easier than really trying to like line up those little audio peaks along the way. Finally, we get to tip number 10. And tip number 10 is definitely probably the most advanced key command, but it is so essential. And this will save you so much time, like so much time. Let's say that you edited most of your video and you have a bunch of different clips and you've already color graded, you add some audio effects to it, but you realize, oh shoot, I want to add this one other clip, but you haven't actually color graded or done anything to it yet. But you want it to match. You could use Final Cut's option to match audio and match color effects, but it's never exactly perfect. Well, what you can do is if you select that clip you've already edited, do Command C, and then go over to the clip that you want to select, this one, select it, do Shift Command V. A window is going to pop up and it's like, hey, I see these attributes and color gradings and effects. Which ones do you want me to add onto that clip that you're doing? Because it's going to see all the effects that you've added onto the previous clip and give you the option to add them into the current clip that you're in. So this is where you can just check the ones you want, uncheck the ones that you don't want, press apply, and you're good. You have those in there now, and it's exactly the same way as the other, rather than having to kind of compare settings, and that's gonna take so much time. So that is so important. So Command Shift V to paste in those attributes onto a clip that you're working on. And as a bonus key command I wanna add in, you have your freeze frame. A lot of YouTubers will use freeze frame. They're going through the life and stop, and keep going again. Maybe they'll add like some voiceover into it to kind of add in a little bit of effect. That's gonna be through Option F. Freeze frame is gonna work same way like the blade tool, and that's gonna reference the previous frame. All right, friends, that was it. I hope that was 5 minutes. I'd be kind of embarrassed if that went over 5 minutes for just talking about key commands. But I hope you learned something through these. I think a lot of them are very basic key commands, but I think they're fundamental. And for me, these are the ones I use every single day when I edit. They have changed my life and they sped up my workflow so much. And honestly, I looked up a lot of these just by going into my settings. You'd go up to the top and then you can kind of just see under edit or file what the key command is for each action. I'm like, oh, I add in freeze frame pretty often, or I make compound clips a lot, and it becomes muscle memory at a point. Also, if you want to make your own key commands, you can go up to Final Cut and there's an option to do key command, and you can change, I changed it so if I do Option space, my playhead will go to the beginning and start playing my video from the beginning. Definitely change them up for you. These are the ones that exist as a default, and you can always rename them and remap them to your keyboard to suit your workflow. All right, friends, but that's all I have for you today on key commands. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you definitely learned something from it. But friends, stay happy, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Incredibly beautiful. Oh, you shine like gold, so selfless to all, and wild like an animal.
Most nights, I look out my window, and in the distance, I see these red flashing lights, like they're signaling to me that something's out there, that's waiting for me, but I'm not able to leave. And then I'll get this feeling that he's watching me, that he's always watching me, but I don't know what it is that he wants. And when I go to bed, I'll dream about him sometimes. So in my dream, I don't know what he looks like. I'll try and talk to him, and I'll yell, and I'll scream, and I'll cry, and every time he just says nothing. He remains silent. And when I wake up, it's like I was actually there. Except this time when I look out the window, those lights aren't flashing anymore. Hello? Hello, is someone there? Hello? Hello?